So I wasn't gonna do this because the Will Smith thing it's Hollywood, and I don't usually comment about things going on in Hollywood because it's Hollywood and I am not in Hollywood and it's none of my business. But this incident kind of became everybody's business because Will Smith made it everybody's business, and not only for adults but also maybe children that might have been watching the program. And something, I waited a few days, but to see different perspectives, and something came to light yesterday that a YouTuber posted that adds clarity to the situation for me. So apparently in Will Smith's past, and I'm gonna preface this, I do not condone what Will Smith did in any of this at all, and I'll get to Chris Rock's story and Jada's story, or at least what we know, and I'll get to them. But for right now, I'm gonna go through Will Smith's, something that came out that made me go, okay. So what we saw was Will Smith ran up on stage and unprovoked, Chris Rock made a joke that Will Smith did not like, and what the audience saw was one star slugging another star. It looked like Will Smith kind of did a pow thing, like he had one arm up and then the other arm just got Chris Rock on the side of the face, and really hard. It looked like it hurt, and everybody saw that, or at least and here, I didn't even watch the Oscars. I did care about that Dune, because Dune, oh my god, I love Dune. So I wanted to know that Dune won all the awards because I love that movie, and Villeneuve is a genius. And anyway, I was happy about that, and so I kind of kept an ear out. But I was lying in bed at like 8 o'clock, and I got all these notifications from Twitter on my phone, like, oh my god, Will Smith did the blah, and I'm like, what? And I went on Twitter and I saw the videos, and I'm like, oh my god. And I, like everybody else, I was stunned for like an hour. I just kind of sat there like, and then the first thing that went to my gut was trauma. This looks like a trauma incident. This looks like Will Smith has some kind of trauma, and it came out because I'm a trauma survivor. I know what it looks like, but I wasn't gonna say anything about it because I'm like, we don't know anything about these people, right? They're Hollywood, we don't know shit. And it's warm enough, I'm gonna take my hood off. But yeah, I wasn't gonna say anything because all that we knew was that Jada has alopecia, and I didn't even know that because I don't follow these people, but apparently Jada has alopecia. She's bald, like me, and I'm bald for other health conditions, not alopecia, but alopecia does run in my family, and I do have a bald patch right here. That spot right there doesn't grow hair, and I got another few little bits right in here, and I got some in the back and some behind my ear. It doesn't grow hair. So maybe I have alopecia because I do have relatives that have it, but I don't know. But anyway, so Jada has alopecia, and when I saw the video, I couldn't help but notice how stunning Jada looks. Oh my god. So the only thing I posted after that was a picture of Jada and her incredible dress. Oh my god. I love this dress. I want this dress because it's got all these awesome textures, and it's that emerald green color, and it's one of my favorite colors. And I'm just so proud of her for being badass in her bald head. And you know, I thought that was really cool. But, you know, the look that, you know, that she gave Chris Rock, I'm like, oh God, that's some hate look, you know, and the eye roll. And what I got from that was, oh, here we go again. Because a lot of people, you know, they do cheap jabs at people who are bald, especially people on the feminine side of the gender spectrum. You know, I get it all the time. You know, people are like, oh, you're such a freak, or, oh my God, you're just trying to get attention. And I'm like, no, I legit have trouble growing hair, but also I think I look great like this. I love it, and it's nobody's business but my own. So when people said that Will Smith reacted the way he did because Jada was traumatized, for one, Jada didn't appear traumatized. Jada appeared annoyed and kind of like, oh, you guys are so stupid for using that joke. Oh my God. That's the vibe that I got, was kind of what I do. Like, I'm like, oh, you're such a lazy joke teller, really? Because people called me G.I. Jane before, and even my husband called me G.I. Jane or Sinead when I shave my head, you know, because that's what people think of when they see, oh, you know, feminine kind of person with shaved head, G.I. Jane, you know. And I just kind of rolled my eyes at that as well, because I'm like, oh, really, that's the only person you know, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't get offended, and I'm somebody with trauma. So even though I don't know Jada, maybe that offended her, it doesn't offend, it wouldn't have offended me, but that's me. Now, let's go to Will Smith. Okay, so Will Smith, all right, what I saw was a man in pain, in deep pain, and he also chose to do what he did. Okay, but what's weird is before the incident, he didn't seem in pain. And a lot of people have remarked, Micah, don't knock that over. My cat is right here trying to knock over the phone. See, look at Micah. Hi. You go play, Micah. Oh, you're so pretty. I love my kitty. But anyway, he's a very curious kitty. There you go. But anyway, I don't think it was the joke that did it for Will. I think something else was behind there. And everyone, you know, a lot of people said, you know, there's something going on that we're not seeing. And sure enough, Will Smith, in his book, before this happened, said, I feel like a coward. Dun, dun, dun. I feel like a coward for not standing up to my father for attacking my mother. And he says his biggest regret in life is that he did not deck his father out when he was a kid for punching his mother. And yeah, so I think what happened is he saw this as an opportunity to get his dignity back, and also something clicked in his brain and he just lunged. It was just pure emotion. I don't really think any thought process was involved here. I think he just said, Chris Rock, enemy. I get enemy. I protect woman. And he just went zhunk and did the thing, and then you know, walked off like, oh, I feel good about myself now, you know. But I don't think it had anything to do with Jada, because I don't think Jada really got hurt by that. I think Will Smith, because a lot of people with PTSD, if there's a situation that reminds them, it's called a trigger. It reminds them, and I'm in therapy for this, reminds them of something that happened that triggered them. All they can see is that moment. Like, I don't think Will Smith even saw Chris Rock as Chris Rock. I think Will saw his father and goes, I need to protect, I need to do the thing, and he did it. And I think that's why in his acceptance speech he's crying, and also Denzel Washington, was like comforting him, and because I think he knows about the PTSD, and Will Smith, kept repeating over and over again, almost to himself, almost like self-soothing, like, oh my God, I'm not a violent person. Like, it almost looked like he was talking to himself. And that's what a lot of us do with PTSD. It's almost like we have two of us inside. We have the trauma self, and we have our logical brain self that we want to be, and we want to project into the world. So I think Will Smith, he wants to project into the world, and he even has done lots of PSAs, in the 90s of, violence is not the answer, so I believe that was his mission, was to not be his father. And so, like, in his acceptance speech, he's like, he's bawling, his mouth is all dry, he's scared. And I think he just realized what he just did. And so his mind clicked in. He got out of the fog, and he's like, oh my God, I need to, I'm not violent. And that's why he keeps repeating that even in his tweets. He's like, I'm not violent. I'm a vessel of love and things like this. Because I think that's who he wants to be. But the problem is he just became his father. He just did the unthinkable. He just did what he would never want to do. And he just became the abuser. He didn't abuse a woman, but he abused a comedian. And that comedian now, apparently Chris Rock, he has his own trauma himself. And he's a comedian. Like, so we're getting on Chris Rock now. So apparently last night he went to a show. He did a show, and there was a heckler in the audience that had to be escorted out. And see, the thing is, Will Smith should have been escorted out after doing that. It is not okay that he went up and abused Chris Rock. He could have decked him to the ground. And Will Smith is a trained martial artist from Muhammad Ali. I mean, give me a break. It's not okay. But the problem is, Will Smith wasn't in his own mind. He wasn't in his right mind at that moment. But we have to take responsibility for our PTSD. I can't just go around decking people that I think are my father or my mother. I can't. And I think Will Smith has such an ego that I don't think he's sought treatment for this. And I think he has jumped, he's been in the Hollywood thing, he's been in the parent thing. I don't think he's had the chance to face himself yet. And this could be what's happened, is I think his kids are out of the house, he and his wife are having to have these conversations. And look, I'm polyamorous myself. People have been like, oh, Jada is controlling Will and using the polyamory to make him feel emasculated. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. Jada is her own person, and Will Smith is his own man. If he is not okay in the marriage, it is his responsibility to move on. He's wealthy. He can do that. No excuse. I'm sorry. Her polyamory is not the reason for his trauma. His trauma is his own, and his trauma is from childhood, bar none. Okay? Just like I do not have the right to abuse my husband or be protective of my husband because of the trauma that I've been through. Bullshit. He's a grown-ass man. Come on. And I would never... And the thing about polyamory is you have to be in constant communication with your partner. Your first partner, if you want to have an open marriage, you have to be in a ridiculous amount of communication. Otherwise, it's cheating. If you don't tell your primary partner, hey, I'm going to go out with so-and-so, and we have a connection, and I want to invite you in and let you know, blah, blah, blah. A whole nother video, but I don't believe there's any abuse going on there. And everybody, so many people are like, oh, Jada is just trying to manipulate Will, and Will's feeling, oh, good Lord, no. And if Will is feeling emasculated from this, he needs to communicate that with Jada, and they need to have, couples therapy, and maybe not have an open marriage or split up for real. That's their business. But it was not okay for Will to act out like this, and he needs help. And also, I'm really scared for Chris, because apparently he's having some trauma. He apparently is flinching a lot when he's part of some kind of club or like association for comedians or something. And apparently when he was out to eat with one of his friends the other day, his friend reached over for a glass of water and Chris went like this. Apparently, from what the guy said. And what that shows to me is Chris is already hand shy. Like a dog that got beat up, okay? So he's now got PTSD. Great. So Chris Rock does not need to forgive Will Smith publicly. No. If anything, he needs to tell Will Smith that was not okay. You chose to walk up on that stage. And here's the thing, is Chris was leaning forward probably because the lights are so fucking bright on those stages, you can't even see the audience. So Chris, he kept his arms behind himself, to show a dignified stance. And he might even have been, after Will Smith decked him, you could see Chris was slightly forming a fist, but then he regained his composure and he put his hands back here. Because I think he wanted to be the consummate professional, and I believe he wants to remain professional and just go on with his life. But it did affect him. I believe it did affect him. And he does not need to accept Will's apology. If anything, they should talk way later after they both gotten therapy, after this blows over, but that's between them. But this is really scary, and the reason I made this video is because I have performers in my community that I care about, and comedians and drag queens and all that. A lot of them have trauma themselves, and I cannot imagine if a heckler came up and just decked them. I don't know what I would do. I don't know how I would react. I would freak out. I'd probably leave and try to find them backstage and console them like people did at the Oscars for Will Smith or Chris Rock or whatever. But the problem is, this traumatized the whole nation. And Jim Carrey came out and he said, this endangers the comedian community. This endangers people. And children saw this. So if you had children and they saw this, what I would recommend is you explain to them, be like, hey, violence is not okay. Will Smith needs therapy. Will Smith needs a doctor. And what he did is because somebody hurt him a long time ago and he feels pain, and he did not go to a doctor to get that pain helped. And this is why I teach you to count to 10, punch a pillow, do these things so you do not hurt somebody else like Will Smith did. Okay, that would be how I would handle it if I had kids and they saw it. But anyway, my heart grieves for Will. I imagine he feels like crap after this. And, they all saw him dancing at the club, but what else is he going to do? He's in the spotlight. He's going to be dancing at the club and, doing the thing. Because people with PTSD, they handle their trauma, and a lot of us like to block it out. We like to stuff it. We like to get rid of it. We don't like these feelings. I imagine that's what he's used to doing. He's a very fit, tall, masculine male. I believe he feels like that is what he's supposed to do. And he's also religious from, hi Micah, religious from what I'm seeing. And in religion, there's a lot of, you know, angst against therapy and mental health. So, and Denzel only confirmed that, because Denzel was like, you know, right now is when God is, you know, the devil will come for you because you're in the top of your game and blah, blah, blah. And, okay, I think what he meant, if I can make a secular translation of that, it's, you're vulnerable right now, and that's when the PTSD is going to hit. That's how I would interpret that from the secular point of view. But anyway, oh my God, I hope this doesn't set a precedent for comedians to get decked on stage. I hope we can heal as, yeah. So, but anyway, that's why I made this video, not to condone behavior, but to process, okay? But anyway.